Hello and welcome to Discover Joyous Love. I'm your host, Anita DeFrancesco. This is episode number 17, and the topic is narcissism. What is narcissism? And narcissistic triangulation is something that can affect relationships of all kinds, especially the romantic ones. But let me first give you a look here at my books. Live Free is a book that I talk to you about how to transform and how I transformed my life. This is available on Amazon, and we talk about victimization and how to take the steps in life to become much more into your higher power, but it talks about how I did that in this book. And then my other book is the Donna Gentile story, which is a true crime book of a woman who was very resilient and silenced and had her power, but ended up being murdered. It's a long story. You'll have to read the book. This is also available on Amazon.com. So let's get on with our topic. What is narcissism? Narcissism is one of the very, very common personality trait, a very common personality character in today's world. A lot of people are suffering from narcissism because of their experiences, the trauma living in their body. Again, we get back to the trauma in the body. The body, the pain body, is where all of this lives, and we fight between this pain and resiliency and wanting to be, but what happens is we sometimes get caught up in the ego, and the fight becomes a trigger when we are confronted or when we are attacked or rejected in life, or we become afraid to open up, so we go into denial. There's many things that live around narcissism, and you can love a narcissist, and not every narcissist will be abusive. But a lot of people say that narcissistic people are very abusive. They don't have feelings, they're cut from their feelings, they can walk on you, they can take you for granted. But not all. Some people have elements of these things, and not all are going to be abusive. The best thing for a narcissist is for them to get into good talking therapy. So let me give you some of my pointers here that I have for you this week. What is a narcissist? I'll give you these pointers, and then you can see if you have any of these elements in your character. You might have one or two, but it doesn't mean you're a narcissist. An inflated sense of the self-importance. They feel that they should have the best parking space on the street, or that people should more or less not actually bow down to them, but more or less, praise them in some way because they have this inflated sense of being important. It's almost as if they think they're important, like a president of the United States or someone high on a post. But they're caught between their ego and their pain body, and somewhere in the middle is where they kind of meld into that narcissistic, trying to find the love, the self-love, but it isn't there. And they think they're self-loving themselves, but they're actually attacking others to get to supply their loss, their spiritual insufficiencies. Now, they say narcissism is more of a character trait in men, more so in men than women. Well, because men are a little bit more, holding on to their feeling. They're a little bit more, they don't show their feeling as much. They don't open the heart as much. And they are a little bit more in the ego, or they are more the protector, or more the savior, the rescuer. So, but not all men. There's a lot of narcissistic women too, but men tend to be a little bit more of that character trait. The narcissistic personality has a need for admiration. They disregard other people's feelings. So you could be in a relationship with someone, and then for no reason, it suddenly breaks up, and it's if you're just like hanging out on a hook. They don't really have the feeling there. They disregard your feelings. They take you for granted. They walk on you, and they don't think anything of it. And why is that? Because the narcissistic person is cut. They have armor. They're cut from the lower body feeling. and the heart. So it's either the heart or the lower body. But a part of them is split. And it's okay for them not to feel because they don't know what it is. So if they offend you in ways that where they're disregarding your feelings, and you have to look at that in relationships. Are your feelings being taken for granted? Are your feelings being taken into consideration? Are your feelings being walked on? You must see and understand what your partner, you must monitor that, what your partner is giving back. If they disregard your feelings, there may be some character flaws there, irregular behaviors that you can actually start to tap into after a while to to at least encourage them to go to therapy. So let's continue here. So the inability to handle any criticism and a sense of entitlement. This is so common. The inability to handle criticism. Does your partner, when you give them constructive criticism, are they unable to handle it and they throw a fight and you're crazy and they call you a liar and they just beat you up emotionally with their words and their actions? I don't mean physically, but I mean, it's like they just throw you out because you tapped into a place that maybe could open them. Constructive criticism can open someone. So that's one thing that you need to look out for if your partner is unable to handle things of that nature. Entitlement. Feeling entitled about everything. They have a sense of entitlement. Like they should have this, they should have that. They're entitled to having more women in their lives, or more men, or more toys, or more wonderful cars, and all kinds of things. They're just entitled to have more respect from people. So this entitlement personality is a lot of that now you see in the world out there. You see a lot of people, they have this entitlement way about them. And I think that in our society, personally, I think a lot more characters have been shaped and formed into narcissism. Even if the people did not come from, say, anything in their lives that would have developed this, say their childhood where they were shut down, where they had to be in a frozen mode. A lot of children develop narcissism from the experiences as a child. But I think in the way the world is today with social media and everyone, having their hand out for everything, everyone wanting this entitlement, and the way the world is going politically, that I think that there being more narcissistic personalities just born or created. So we can actually become that just from the world we're living in, not necessarily from the life we had as a child. Now, the inability, to handle the fantasies of unlimited success, power, lack of empathy. Okay, fantasies of unlimited success and power. Now, I know a few people, they have these fantasies that that they're this powerful, rich men, usually. And I have this one friend of mine, he's always talking about how he goes here and he owns homes there. And I'm saying to myself, this has to be a fantasy, because I know this person doesn't have this money to be owning these $1 million homes that he talks about, and cars. And it's not about trying to impress a woman. It's like a part of their mind goes into that fantasy and they live that. And that's the world they create. So in their mind, that is what makes them whole. So having this sense of entitlement, like I should have in the job. They may be like the lowest on the totem pole at the job, but they feel they should be treated like the president of the company. Now, of course, we all deserve to be treated with respect, regardless of your position. But they have this sense of inflation, this sense of entitlement, like, people should bow down to them, praise them. I think they need to go to church and praise God. So maybe that would help them to change the sense of their self, their being. They lack empathy. So empathy, they don't care about others' feelings. They don't care If someone is sick, it's just kind of, they do, but it's in a very cold, mechanical way that they would show the expression. They're known to gaslight you. You know what the gaslighting is. They put the fire under you, and boom, boom, they continually manipulate with words, actions. They belittle you, they judge you, they put you down. This is narcissism, narcissistic. Now, these are traits, but if your partner is consistently doing this kind of stuff, you may want to look for another partner or encourage him or her to get some therapy. So, again, judging, belittling, an emotional abuse. It's an emotionally abusive cycle that goes on with narcissism. Now, if you're a highly transformed person, and I find narcissists to be amusing. I really find them to be very, very amusing. Because I'm transformed, it doesn't bother me. So I don't have this attachment to the old triggers, my old pain, because my pain is really in a place, my own emotional pain is really gone. And it's in a place where it just doesn't affect my everyday life. So if a narcissist is going to emotionally abuse or use these tactics on someone that we'll say is not emotionally transformed or needs emotional, work, they may be the target. They may be the target for them. So that feeds their ego. But after the emotional abuse to the person receiving the abuse, they will feel triggered. They will feel neglected, abandoned, out on a limb, a victim. And this is someone who isn't transformed or really needs to work on themselves. But in situations where other people can just find a narcissist amusing, and that's where I am with the narcissistic personality, because I know too many of them. I find them amusing, actually, but I'm learning psychologically a lot from their character. So the manipulation, they're right about everything. And they don't really have any long-term friends. And if they do have a long-term friend, it's someone that they're fixated on. Like there's a really close bond, but it's not even a friend. It's almost like a fixation or an obsession, and like a cord that needs to separate, because that is not the real them. That is not a real friend. Codependency could be a friend that they would, the kind of friend that they would have. But normally they don't have any long-term friends because they think they're right about everything. And people tend to shy away from the narcissistic personality after a while because they're not getting any feedback. They're not getting any feeling back from them. We like to, when we are with people, we want to, we want to connect to their feelings. This is intimacy, and just in general, and friends, intimacy, just having that connection, feeling that, they hear you, the intention. They hear what you're saying. Another thing about narcissists, they don't apologize, or if they do apologize, it's really cold. It's cold and callous, and oh, I'm sorry. Well, I'm sorry. It's very. You should tape them. Get your recorder out on your phone. I mean, there is no feeling in the. It's like a hateful sorry. Like they don't even know that they're saying the word sorry. If you're wrong, if you wrong them, it bruises the ego. They'll badmouth you to save face. They will badmouth you to their friends. They will talk about you to other people, and they will belittle you. You will be the conversation of the person that is very, very disruptive in their life. So they can badmouth you. You have to be careful with the narcissist, because they are always looking for people to honor them, and they think they're looking for love. They are, but they don't know how to do it. And they do it through the ego with the sense of entitlement. Everything is everyone else's fault. It's never their fault. Very sad, huh? That the narcissist doesn't even recognize their own feelings. Not at all. They don't recognize their own feelings. But you're there and you can help them in this relationship. They generally act out on the worst impulses. So if you're going to accuse them of something, of being wrong, or criticize them, they're going to act out their most deepest, most painful impulses. Other symptoms of a narcissist would be, let's see, they expect to be recognized as superior even without achievements that warrant it. Like here, you go to a job and your boss has many achievements, is highly, educated in his field of work, and yet this person here would like to have that warrant that same recognition, and this is where the narcissist is cut. They don't even realize what they're doing. They're so preoccupied with the fantasy about success and power and brilliance and beauty or the perfect mate. Oh, that's one sentence that they will say to you. I'm looking for the perfect mate, or I'm looking for the full package. And these are the kind of things that, again, are fantasy. They monopolize the conversations and belittle or look down on people they perceive as inferior. So they will belittle you. They will look you up and down with their eyes. And when they do that, when someone does that to you, they look at your feet. You almost think you're being judged by the way you're dressed, or, oh, am I not dressed right? Or are my shoes, out of style? Or do I have dirt on me? Or what is it? So you have to understand that this is part of the narcissistic personality trait. And I find it amusing, but it can also be insulting, and it can be belittling, and it can actually be intimidating to a point that your self-esteem could start to become very challenged over time. They expect special favors and unquestioning compliance with their expectations. Another one. So they're all about being them, and it's not about you at all. They insist on having the best of everything. For instance, the best car or office, or the best Christmas gifts. And if you don't buy them the right thing, the right outfit, the right handbag, the right designer shirt or whatever, they're going to be mad at you. That's because they have these expectations that they have to have the best of everything. But these things are not bad traits to have, but in a more authentic sense, with emotion. I like having the best of everything, but I'm not going to stay connected to my ego and detach from my soul and my spirit and my humanness to become that. So you're becoming something else. They're not who they are. So, okay, so much, let's see what causes, right? What causes narcissism? Environment, genetics, and neurobiology. It's a personality disorder, but you can heal that personality disorder by attending therapy. The narcissistic personality disorder may be linked to environment. So let's talk about mismatches in the parent-child relationships. Sometimes when there's divorce in the family and step-parents, this environment is not as conducive or adaptive to the child, and they have a hard time adjusting and adapting to something like their parent left and now the mother has a new husband. So environment is a big thing. That's why young children should go, when their parents divorce, they should go to psychotherapy and be in a psychotherapeutic program for years, because it takes, they become a little split because they're not connected to the stepmom or dad. The genetics, it's genetics and inherited characteristics. So what we call it, Dr. Wilhelm Reich calls it, is transference. Now you have, of course, the genetics, like I don't know if you've ever heard of, having the alcohol gene in the body. If one parent is an alcoholic, chances are either one of their children or one of their children's children will become an alcoholic. So that will be a gene that you inherit. But Beside that, there's what we call transference. And this you don't have to inherit anything. If you believe that you're going to inherit something, that's one thing. But if you break that belief, then it's what you believe. You don't have to have high blood pressure because your parents have it. I don't believe, my whole family has high blood pressure, but I don't, because I don't believe in inheriting genetic diseases from people. But transference, yes, because that's more somatic, that's more experiential, that's more environmental. Neurobiology, the connection between the brain and the behavior and thinking. Brain, behavior, and thinking. So you have the brain, your thoughts, your emotions, your behavior, and your thinking behavior is your emotions, and then your actions. So you want to align your feeling, thought, and action. So what are you feeling? What am I feeling? I'm feeling love. What am I thinking? I'm thinking hate. And what is my action? I'm going to maybe do something that's either hate or love, but it wouldn't be aligned. So if you're thinking, for example, that you're going to have a great time today, but you're feeling like, depressed, how could I? What is your action? What do you manifest? It has to be aligned. So feeling, thought, and action must be aligned. And this is neurobiology. So if you're thinking that you're going to have a great time today and you're feeling happy about it, then you will manifest a good time. That's the way it goes, folks. But it's a little bit tough for people to have that alignment. And again, you have to do the work. Getting into therapy, even yoga could help you as a form of body connecting to the body. So, okay, let's get into this, not too much longer, but getting into the triangulation. So, talking about what we call narcissistic triangulation. And what is narcissistic triangulation? Okay, let's see what I have for you here. It's bringing another person into a dynamic while giving them control over the communication process. So, for example, you're dating someone and then all of a sudden they consult with their friend about the relationship, and all of a sudden that friend's feelings are now involved, giving that person the advice of what you should and shouldn't do. Should you stay in the relationship? So they become part of this triangle here. It's called narcissistic triangulation, or bringing the third party into the relationship to make a partner feel as if they have to compete or earn attention from the lover. Another way of belittling. That's one way. So manipulation tactics and control. So it's bringing another person into the dynamic. So example, like I said, if you bring your girlfriend into it and you're talking to her about your boyfriend, and then she's giving you advice, and then she wants to get involved and talk to him about you, all of a sudden it's not about you and the person, it's about the third person here that has no right to really be in this triangle. So this triangulation is what the narcissist needs for attention. And they play people against each other. So you've seen it. It happens all the time. Playing people against each other. Sometimes the person, the narcissist, might want to tell significant other something, but instead of going to the partner, like the husband and wife or the boyfriend and girlfriend should be going to that person to tell them, they go to the friend and tell the friend and air out the dirty laundry. And they tell them whatever they had, whatever they wanted to say to their partner, they bring it to the friend. Because the narcissist is not connected. The narcissist doesn't have the feeling, the empathy, the compassion to look at their partner and discuss with them. So they have to take it out. And it's a way of avoiding the self. It's a way of having more attention and feeding on the narcissistic behavior. It's very sick. It really, really is very sick. Stopping triangulation, narcissistic triangulation, how to avoid the pitfalls of the third person in your relationship. Of course, relationships are always a challenge, but triangulation is when a third person gets involved in the conflict. So now they're not only involved in the feelings, but they're involved in the conflict, which is very bad. Basically, in other words, what it is that your mate is talking behind your back. He might be talking to your girlfriend, or she might be talking to his boyfriend, his friend, boyfriend, best friend, and behind your back, they're talking to your friend or their own friend. So this whole thing is really about talking behind your back. It's betrayal. They're putting you down, airing the dirty laundry. And then that friend gives them advice. And that's how you break up, because they gave them the wrong advice. Triangulation is not good in the long run because another person's feelings and thoughts and opinions are involved. So the other person is involved now. It's you two that have something, but the other person now is involved in the feeling, in the triangle. Talk to your mate. Sit down, create the tantric wisdom bubble, and sit down face to face with your mate, your partner, and create that sacredness, that divinity. What I like about you, what I need more from you. Gaze in the eyes of your partner, because gazing in the eyes can open up the heart and can open up those armored areas that are preventing you from communicating or expressing yourself. So this is where we want to go with that. And then one last thing here. Try not to invite the third person in. In other words, discuss this with your partner. Tell your partner, I don't care to be the topic of discussion with any of your friends, or don't talk behind my back to my friends or your friends. This is very childish, but it's very narcissistic, and it is painful, and is disconnecting. It's almost as if they're having a relationship with someone else because they can't talk to you. And this is betrayal. Betrayal of the heart and the emotions, not about going out with someone else. That's not what I'm talking about. Betrayal has many different facets to it. So how to have that healthy relationship? Let me leave you on this. You do not want to attach right away to a new partner. Because patterns will repeat. So you want to look at all your old relationships, reflect there, and see what patterns are repeating. Are you going to get hurt again? And how are you? Are you the type that's overgiving? So you want to have this balance of giving and receiving in the relationship. And in the beginning, you don't want to attach so much. You want to know that, of course, the patterns will repeat. You also want to have healthy boundaries. Now, you have to learn how to build healthy boundaries. So you'll have to come to Tantra classes for that. But in a relationship, I always have 1 foot in and 1 foot out, because I know that relationships do not last forever. And if you can put that in your head, that a relationship does not last forever, you can have a healthy relationship and enjoy each other's time without expectations, without saying, he left me, she left me, oh, they dumped me, they hurt me, ripping up all the gifts. It's not where you need to go. You want to have a foot in and a foot out, and you want to enjoy the healthy relationship for what it is, because a lot of them are just for growth. They're not going to be the right person for you to settle down with. I mean, we're not going to settle down with everyone, right? So that's what I wanted to say about this, to have this beginning, middle, and end. And to know that the relationships are not going to be there forever for you. And allowing yourself to be in that moment. Explore, experience, and live. Live your aliveness. Thank you for tuning in to Discover Joyous Love. I've been your host, Anita DeFrancesco. Episode 17, Narcissism and Narcissistic Triangulation has been our topic. TantraWisdom.com, the Donna Gentile Story.com. These are books I wrote, my websites, and you can find the information about me there. Thank you.